Admiral Sora Kim stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Station, staring at the massive screens that showed space around their planet. Something was wrong. Very wrong. "Admiral," called Lieutenant J-Ho from his station. "We have contacts, many contacts coming from the outer system." Sora moved quickly to look at the readings. Her heart raced. Hundreds of ships were approaching Earth. These were not human ships. The design was completely alien, with smooth curves and strange energy patterns that human sensors had never seen before. "Sound the alert," Sora ordered. "Get me President Park immediately." Within minutes, alarms rang across Earth and its colonies. This was humanity's first contact with alien life, and it was happening with a fleet large enough to destroy every human settlement. President Taman Park arrived at the command center within an hour. He was a calm man who had led Earth through many difficult times, but even he looked worried as he watched the alien fleet approach. "How many ships?" he asked Sora. "Over 300, sir. They're massive. Each one is larger than our biggest. Warships." Dr. Dong-Hyun Lee, Earth's top scientist for alien studies, rushed into the room carrying his equipment. He had been waiting his whole life for this moment. "But not like this, Mr. President," Dr. Lee said, breathing hard. "I'm reading strange energy signatures from their ships. They're not charging weapons. In fact, they seem to be broadcasting something." "What kind of broadcast?" Taman asked. "It looks like a peace signal. The energy pattern matches what we might expect from a white flag or surrender symbol." Sora frowned. "A fleet this size doesn't come in peace. They could destroy us easily if they wanted to." Captain Ji-Woo Choi, one of Earth's youngest but smartest ship commanders, spoke up from her position at the tactical display. "Sir, they've stopped moving. They're holding position just outside our defensive range." Suddenly, the main screen flickered. An alien face appeared on every display in the command center. The creature was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large, dark eyes. When it spoke, the words came through in perfect human language. "Greetings, people of Earth. I am Ambassador Velthara of the Galactic Harmony Council. We come in peace and friendship. We request permission to speak with your leaders about matters of great importance to both our species and the galaxy." The room fell silent. Taman looked at his advisors, then stepped forward. "I am President Taman Park of the United Earth Coalition. We welcome peaceful contact, Ambassador Velthara. What do you wish to discuss?" The alien's expression seemed pleased. "President Park, we represent 847 civilizations that live together in peace across the galaxy. We have watched humanity's growth with great interest. You have achieved much in a short time. We believe it is time for Earth to join the galactic community." Dr. Lee whispered to the president. "Sir, this is incredible. A galactic civilization. Think of what we could learn." But Sora remained suspicious. She had spent her life protecting Earth, and something about this felt wrong. Why would such a powerful alliance need to send such a large fleet for a peaceful meeting? Ambassador Velthara continued speaking. "We invite a delegation from Earth to visit our flagship. We have much to discuss about humanity's future among the stars." After the transmission ended, the command center erupted in discussion. Some advisors were excited about the possibilities of joining a galactic civilization. Others worried about the implications of such a powerful group taking interest in Earth. "We should send Ambassador Hyejin," suggested Dr. Lee. "She's our best diplomat." Ambassador Hyejin Yoon had been quietly observing from the back of the room. She was known for her ability to read people and situations. She stepped forward now. "I'm willing to go," she said, "but I recommend caution. Why does a peaceful alliance need such a large military escort?" Sora nodded. "My thoughts exactly. Mr. President, I suggest we learn more about them before we agree to anything." Over the next few days, small shuttles moved between the alien fleet and Earth. Ambassador Hyejin met with Velthara and other alien diplomats. The aliens shared amazing stories about their civilization. They spoke of planets where different species lived together in harmony. They described technologies that could solve Earth's energy problems and extend human life. But they also spoke of rules. The Galactic Harmony Council, they explained, worked to prevent conflict between species. Sometimes this meant that younger, more aggressive species needed guidance to learn peaceful ways. Humanity has expanded very quickly, Velthara explained to Hyojin during one of their meetings. In just a few hundred years, you have spread to 12 star systems. This speed of growth concerns some council members. Are you saying we've done something wrong? Hyojin asked. Not wrong, but perhaps hasty. The council has seen other species expand too quickly and create problems. We believe humanity would benefit from our guidance as you continue to grow. When Hyojin reported this conversation to President Park, Sora's suspicions grew stronger. They're talking about controlling our expansion, Sora said. That's not an alliance, that's supervision. Dr. Lee disagreed. Admiral, think about what we could gain. Their technology, their knowledge. We could solve diseases, explore new worlds safely. At what cost? Sora replied. Our freedom to make our own choices? President Park listened to all viewpoints. As Earth's leader, he had to consider what was best for humanity's future. The aliens seemed peaceful, but their fleet remained in position around Earth. It felt less like a friendly visit and more like a show of force. Captain Jiwoo had been quietly monitoring the alien ships. She noticed something that troubled her. Sir, their ships have been scanning our defenses, they're mapping our military positions. Are you certain? Sora asked. Yes, Admiral. They say they come in peace, but they're gathering intelligence on our capabilities. This news changed everything. Sora immediately ordered increased patrols and put Earth's defenses on high alert. If the aliens were scanning for weaknesses, humanity needed to be ready for anything. Ambassador Velthara requested another meeting with President Park. This time, the alien's tone was more serious. President Park, the Council has been patient, but we need an answer. Will humanity accept our guidance and join the galactic community, or will you choose to remain isolated? What exactly does guidance mean? Taemin asked. Council advisors would work with your government to ensure your expansion follows galactic law. Your military development would be supervised to prevent conflicts. Your technology would advance through approved channels. Sora could barely contain her anger. This wasn't partnership. This was control. Taemin remained calm. We need time to consider this offer. Velthara's expression hardened slightly. Of course, but please understand, President Park, that the Council has ways of ensuring galactic peace. We hope humanity will choose cooperation over other alternatives. The threat was clear, though politely delivered. As the alien ships continued to surround Earth, humanity faced its greatest challenge yet. Accept alien control disguised as friendship, or face the consequences of refusing the galaxy's most powerful alliance. In the depths of space, Sora's ships watched and waited, preparing for whatever choice their president would make. Captain Jiwoo Choi guided her ship, the ESV Defiance, through the outer edges of the solar system. President Park had ordered routine patrols, but Jiwoo knew this was anything but routine. The alien fleet still surrounded Earth, and tension grew stronger each day. Captain, called her communications officer, I'm picking up strange signals from the alien ships. Jiwoo moved to his station. What kind of signals? They're not using their normal communication channels. This looks like private communications between their ships. Can you decode it? I'm trying, but their encryption is very advanced. Jiwoo thought for a moment. Dr. Lee had given all ship captains some basic information about alien technology. Maybe they could use that knowledge to break through the aliens' communications. Keep working on it, she ordered. If they're talking privately, they might be saying something they don't want us to hear. Back on Earth, Dr. Lee was studying samples of alien technology that the visitors had shared during their diplomatic meetings. The aliens had been generous with small gifts. Energy cells, basic scanners, even some medical equipment. They claimed this showed their peaceful intentions. But as Dr. Lee examined the technology more closely, he found something disturbing. The alien devices were incredibly advanced, but they were also very old. The energy cells used technology that seemed hundreds of years behind what such an advanced civilization should have. This doesn't make sense, he muttered to his assistant, Dr. Young-Soo. If they have faster-than-light travel and energy weapons, why are their basic technologies so outdated? Dr. Young-Soo looked at the readings. Maybe they don't need to advance their basic technology. Or maybe, Dr. Lee said slowly, they can't. This thought troubled Dr. Lee greatly. He began comparing the alien technology to human developments. What he found shocked him. In the past 100 years, humans had advanced their technology faster than the aliens had in the past 1,000 years. Meanwhile, Admiral Sora was dealing with her own discoveries. Her intelligence officers had been watching the alien fleet carefully. They noticed that the aliens followed very strict patterns in their movements and communications. Everything was done exactly the same way, every day. Admiral, reported Intelligence Officer Min Jung, their ships move in formations that are hundreds of years old. We found similar patterns in our historical databases. What do you mean? Sora asked. These exact same ship movements were used by ancient Earth navies. It's like they learned one way to do things and never changed. Sora frowned. That's not how you stay the most powerful force in the galaxy. Military tactics should evolve. That's what bothers me, Admiral. A military force that doesn't adapt usually gets defeated by one that does. Captain Jiwoo's ship finally broke through the alien communications encryption. What they heard made her blood run cold. Captain, her communications officer said, his voice shaking, you need to hear this. The voice of Ambassador Velthara came through the speakers, but now he was speaking to other aliens in his native language. The ship's computer translated his words. The humans advance too quickly. In 300 years they will match our technology. In 500 they will surpass us. We cannot allow this. Another alien voice responded. Then we proceed with standard containment protocol? Yes. Offer them supervised integration. If they refuse, we implement limitation procedures. What about the other council members who oppose this action? They will understand when they see the human technological analysis. This species creates new innovations every few years. Our member species haven't had a new innovation in centuries. Jiwoo's hands shook as she recorded the conversation. She immediately sent the recording to Admiral Sora with maximum security encryption. When Sora heard the recording, she felt a mixture of anger and fear. The aliens weren't offering friendship. They were offering control because they feared what humanity might become. She called an emergency meeting with President Park, Dr. Lee, and Ambassador He-jin. They're afraid of us, Sora said, as she played the recording for the group. Dr. Lee looked shocked. But why? We're just one planet. They represent hundreds of civilizations. That's exactly the problem, Sora replied. We're advancing too fast for their comfort. Ambassador He-jin had been quiet during the playback. Now she spoke up. During my meetings with them, I noticed something strange. They kept asking about our research facilities and our education systems. They wanted to know how we develop new technologies. They're studying us, President Park said grimly. Dr. Lee suddenly understood. The technology samples they gave us, they're not gifts. They're tests. They want to see how quickly we can understand and improve their technology. And? Sora asked. We improved their energy cells by 30% in just 2 days. We found ways to make their scanners more accurate and more efficient. We did in hours what probably took them decades. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity wasn't being invited to join a galactic community. They were being evaluated as a potential threat. We need to know more, President Park said. Dr. Lee, I want you to analyze everything they've given us. Find out exactly how advanced they really are compared to us. Admiral Sora, increase our defensive preparations, but do it secretly. We can't let them know we've discovered their true intentions. Ambassador He-jin, continue the diplomatic meetings. Act like we're still considering their offer. But try to learn more about this standard containment protocol they mentioned. Over the next week, each team made disturbing discoveries. Dr. Lee found that the aliens' technology was incredibly sophisticated, but completely stagnant. They had perfected certain technologies thousands of years ago and never improved them. Human technology, while less advanced overall, was improving rapidly in every area. It's like they stopped innovating, Dr. Lee explained to President Park. They reached a certain level and just stayed there. Admiral Sora's intelligence team discovered that the alien fleet was positioning itself to block all escape routes from Earth. They were also building some kind of energy barrier around the solar system. It's not an invasion formation, Sora explained. It's a containment formation. They're preparing to trap us here. Ambassador Hyejin made the most chilling discovery of all. During her conversations with lower-ranking alien diplomats, she learned about other species that had been integrated into the Galactic Council. They all have the same story, she reported. They were young, advancing species who were offered council membership. Those who accepted found their technological development slowed to almost nothing. Those who refused. What happened to those who refused? President Park asked. They were contained in their home systems until they agreed to accept guidance. Eventually, they all accepted. They had no choice. How long did the containment last? For some species, hundreds of years. For others, over 1,000 years. President Park felt the weight of humanity's future on his shoulders. The aliens were offering a choice that wasn't really a choice at all. Accept control and watch human innovation die slowly, or refuse and be trapped in their own solar system until they eventually gave in. But as he looked at his advisors, he saw something that gave him hope. In just 1 week, faced with this threat, humanity had broken alien encryption, analyzed their technology, uncovered their plans, and begun preparing countermeasures. The aliens feared human innovation for good reason. In the time it had taken them to position their fleet, humanity had already begun adapting and fighting back. Captain Jiwoo's voice crackled over the communication system. Mr. President, we've intercepted another message. Ambassador Velthara is reporting to the Council that humanity is taking too long to decide. He's requesting permission to begin pressure measures. President Park stood up slowly. Then they've made their choice for us. Admiral Sora, how long do we have? Based on their positioning and preparations, I estimate they'll begin their containment procedures within 72 hours. Then we have 72 hours to show them exactly why they should fear human innovation. The room filled with grim determination. Humanity's greatest test was about to begin, but they would face it on their own terms, with their own ingenuity, and their own fury at being threatened with eternal stagnation. The explosion lit up space like a deadly star. Admiral Sora watched from her command ship as the alien vessel spun helplessly, its hull torn open and atmosphere bleeding into the void. Admiral, called Captain Jiwoo over the communications. The alien ship is badly damaged. They're sending distress signals. But Sora knew this was wrong, very wrong. Her ships hadn't fired a single shot. Ambassador Velthara's voice filled every communication channel, angry and accusing. The humans have attacked us. Despite our peaceful mission, they have fired on our vessel. This act of aggression cannot be ignored. President Park's voice came through on the secure channel. Admiral, what happened out there? Nothing, sir. My ships are holding position exactly as ordered. We did not fire on anyone. Dr. Lee's urgent voice joined the conversation. I'm reading the energy signature from that explosion. Mr. President, that wasn't one of our weapons. That was an alien energy torpedo. The terrible truth hit them all at once. The aliens had attacked their own ship and were blaming humanity for it. They're creating an excuse, Sora said grimly. Now they can claim we started the fighting. Within minutes, the alien fleet began moving into attack positions around Earth. Velthara broadcast on all frequencies. The Galactic Council deeply regrets that humanity has chosen violence over peaceful cooperation. For the safety of all species, we must now implement emergency protection measures around the Earth system. President Park knew he had to act fast. In his emergency bunker, he activated Earth's highest security protocols. This is President Taemin Park speaking to all human colonies and ships. The alien fleet has staged a false attack on their own vessel to justify hostile action against Earth. All military forces are authorized to defend themselves and human civilians. Admiral Sora, you are now in command of all military operations. Do whatever is necessary to protect our people. Sora felt the weight of humanity's survival on her shoulders. But she was ready. For the past week, she had been secretly preparing for this moment. All ships, this is Admiral Kim. Execute Plan Prometheus. Repeat. Execute Plan Prometheus. Across the solar system, human ships that had been hiding in asteroid fields and behind moons suddenly came to life. These weren't the ships the aliens had been watching. These were new vessels built in secret using the best of human engineering. Captain Jiwoo commanded the first of these new ships, the ESV Defiance Mark II. It looked similar to older human ships, but it was built with technologies the aliens had never seen. Defiance to all ships, Jiwoo broadcast. New weapons are armed and ready. Adaptive defense systems online. Let's show them what human innovation can do. The first alien ships moved to surround Earth, expecting easy victory against primitive human technology. They were completely unprepared for what happened next. Commander Min Ho-jung, leading a squadron of the new human fighters, attacked the alien formation from 3 directions at once. His ships moved in patterns that changed every few seconds, making it impossible for the aliens to predict their next move. Their targeting systems can't keep up, Minho reported. They're programmed for predictable flight patterns. Lieutenant Yoon Seo piloted one of the most advanced human ships, a small craft designed to get close to enemy vessels. She flew directly through the alien formation, her ship's new shields absorbing their energy weapons while she delivered precise strikes against their weak points. Their ships are incredibly strong, she reported, but they have the same weaknesses they've had for hundreds of years. They never adapted their designs. Dr. Lee watched the battle from Earth's command center, analyzing every piece of data from the fighting ships. Admiral, I'm seeing something remarkable. Our new adaptive weapon systems are learning from each alien ship they encounter. Every shot we fire is more accurate than the last. How is that possible? Sora asked. The aliens use the exact same shield frequencies and armor compositions on every ship. Once our systems learn how to penetrate one ship, they can penetrate them all. This was the difference between stagnant and advancing technology. The aliens had perfected their designs and never changed them. Humans had built weapons that could adapt and evolve during the battle itself. But the aliens had one major advantage: numbers. For every human ship, there were 10 alien vessels. Commander Jung's squadron found themselves surrounded by enemy ships. All ships, this is Jung. We're taking heavy fire. I don't think we can break through. Sora watched the tactical display, seeing her people in danger. She had to make a choice that would either save them or doom them all. All ships, prepare for emergency maneuver Omega. Admiral, called her tactical officer. Omega hasn't been tested in real combat. Then today we test it. Omega was humanity's most desperate plan. Instead of fighting the alien ships directly, human vessels would target the aliens' command and communication systems. Cut off from their central control, the alien fleet would be like a body without a brain. Captain Jiwoo led the attack on the alien flagship. Her ship dove through the enemy formation using its adaptive shields to survive the concentrated fire. This is insane, her pilot muttered as enemy energy beams flashed around them. Insane is what humans do best, Jiwoo replied. She guided her ship to within a few hundred meters of the alien command vessel. At this range, the aliens couldn't fire their main weapons without risking damage to their own ship. Lieutenant Seo followed close behind in her smaller craft. While Jiwoo's ship drew the aliens' attention, Seo deployed a new type of weapon Dr. Lee had designed, nanobots that could eat through alien hull material. Nanobots deployed, Seo reported. They're cutting through their armor like it's made of paper. Within minutes, the alien flagship lost all external communications. Suddenly, the coordinated alien attack began to fall apart. Individual ships continued fighting, but they couldn't work together anymore. Commander Jung seized the opportunity. All squadrons, they're blind and deaf now. Attack pattern Delta. Human ships struck from all directions, targeting alien vessels that could no longer coordinate their defenses. The aliens' superior numbers meant nothing if they couldn't use them effectively. But Ambassador Velthara had one more desperate card to play. From the alien flagship, he broadcast a message that reached every corner of the galaxy. Citizens of The Galactic Council, humanity has revealed its true nature. They attack without warning. They use forbidden weapons. They threaten the peace we have maintained for millennia. If we do not stop them here, they will spread across the galaxy like a disease, destroying everything we have built. Dr. Lee intercepted this broadcast and immediately understood its danger. Admiral, he's calling for reinforcements. If the rest of the council believes him, we could face thousands of ships instead of hundreds. Sora knew that winning this battle would mean nothing if the entire galaxy united against humanity. Dr. Lee, can you break into their communication systems? I'm already working on it. Their nanobots damage their security protocols. Do it. We need to tell our side of the story. While the battle raged around Earth, Dr. Lee fought a different kind of war in cyberspace. Using the nanobots' damage to the alien systems, he broke through their communication networks and accessed their databases. What he found there shocked him. Admiral, you need to see this. The aliens' own records showed dozens of species that were integrated into the Council. But the reports describe exactly what they tried to do to us. Show me. Dr. Lee put the alien records on the main screen. File after file showed the same pattern. Promising young species approached by the Council, offered membership, then controlled or contained if they refused. Admiral, according to these records, the Council hasn't had a truly new technology in over 2,000 years. Every innovation comes from newly discovered species, and once those species are integrated, their innovation stops. They're not maintaining galactic peace, Sora realized. They're maintaining galactic stagnation. The battle around Earth was turning in humanity's favor, but Sora knew the real war was just beginning. The aliens feared human innovation because it threatened their entire way of life. As alien ships retreated to regroup, Sora looked at the stars and knew that humanity had crossed a line from which there was no return. They had chosen freedom over safety, innovation over stagnation, and the unknown future over the comfortable prison the aliens offered. The galaxy would never be the same. President Taman Park stood before the cameras, knowing that his next words would be heard across the entire galaxy. Behind him, Earth's blue surface could be seen through the space station's windows, beautiful and defiant. Citizens of the galaxy, he began, his voice steady and strong. I am President Taman Park of the United Earth Coalition. For too long you have been told that peace requires the surrender of progress. You have been told that harmony means accepting limits on your dreams. Today, humanity says no. We will not kneel before false peace. We will not accept chains disguised as protection. Dr. Lee had managed to hack into the galactic communication network, broadcasting humanity's message to every world in Council, space. For the first time in centuries, species across the galaxy heard a voice speaking of freedom instead of control. Admiral Sora watched the broadcast from her command ship while preparing for the Council's response. She knew their victory, and the local battle was just the beginning. The real test would come when the full might of the Galactic Council arrived. Admiral, called Captain Jiwoo from her position near the asteroid belt. Long-range sensors are detecting massive fleet movements. They're coming from at least 12 different star systems. How long do we have? 3 days, maybe 4. Sora nodded grimly. 3 days to prepare for a battle against the combined forces of nearly 1,000 civilizations. But humanity had advantages the Council didn't expect. Activate the Prometheus Protocol, Sora ordered. Send the message to all human colonies. Prometheus Protocol was humanity's greatest secret. For months, human engineers and scientists had been working on projects that pushed the boundaries of known technology. While the Council's species had stagnated for millennia, humanity had been preparing for war. On the mining colony of New Seoul, Commander Wu Jin Kang received the activation signal. Around him, massive factories that had pretended to mine asteroids suddenly revealed their true purpose. They had been building a new type of human warship. All construction teams, Kang announced, begin final assembly of the Titan-class vessels. We have 72 hours to deploy the fleet. These new ships were unlike anything ever built. They used quantum technology that allowed them to exist in multiple locations simultaneously. They carried weapons that could adapt to any enemy defense. Most importantly, they were controlled by artificial intelligence that could learn and evolve. During combat, Captain Jiwoo received orders to rendezvous with the first completed Titan-class ship. When she saw it, she could barely believe human technology had advanced so far in such a short time. "It's beautiful," her pilot whispered. Ship looked like a living thing, its hull flowing and changing as its systems adapted to space conditions. This was technology born from human imagination, freed from alien limitations. Meanwhile, Dr. Lee was receiving responses to President Park's broadcast. His communication equipment buzzed with incoming messages from across the galaxy. "Admiral," he called to Sora, "we're getting responses, lots of responses." "What kind of responses?" "Some species are angry at us for disturbing the peace, but others are asking how they can help." The messages came from worlds that had been integrated into the Council decades or centuries ago, species that had forgotten what it meant to innovate, to dream, to reach beyond what they were told was possible. One message came from a species called the Thornians. Their world had been famous for engineering marvels before Council integration. Now they worked as basic laborers, their technical knowledge suppressed for galactic stability. "We remember what we used to be," their message said. "If you fight for freedom, we will fight with you." Similar messages arrived from the Christek, master builders reduced to simple maintenance workers, and the Vortani, whose art and music had been silenced because it was deemed too stimulating for galactic harmony. Ambassador He-jin coordinated humanity's response to these potential allies. "We need to be careful," she warned President Park. "If the Council discovers these species are communicating with us, they'll face severe punishment." "Then we need to move fast," Park replied. "Set up secure communication channels. If these species want freedom, we'll help them take it." The next 3 days passed in a blur of frantic activity. Human shipyards worked around the clock. New weapons were tested and deployed. Most importantly, contact was established with resistance groups across Council space. Admiral Sora found herself commanding not just human forces, but a growing alliance of species that had been suppressed for too long. Commander Young had been presumed dead after his ship was destroyed in the first battle, but his body had been recovered by the alien forces, and they had tried to use Council medical technology to interrogate him. What they didn't know was that Young had volunteered for an experimental procedure before the battle. His consciousness had been backed up using human technology that was far more advanced than anything the Council possessed. When Young's ship was destroyed, his backup consciousness activated in a new body aboard a hidden human vessel. But the Council's interrogation had given him access to their medical databases. "Admiral," Young reported from his new ship, "I've seen their medical technology. It's designed to suppress creativity and innovation in organic brains. That's how they keep integrated species from advancing." "What do you mean?" "Every species that joins the Council receives medical improvements that are actually neural suppressors. They can't think of new ideas because the Council technology prevents it." This revelation changed everything. The Council wasn't just politically controlling other species. They were biologically altering them to prevent innovation. Dr. Lee immediately began working on countermeasures. "If we can reverse these neural suppressors," he explained to Admiral Sora, "we can restore the natural creativity of every species the Council has integrated." "How long would that take? For one individual? Maybe an hour. For an entire species? We'd need to distribute the treatment somehow." Lieutenant Seo had an idea. "What if we could deliver the treatment through their own medical networks? Every Council world has centralized medical systems." "That's actually possible," Dr. Lee said slowly. "We'd need to get close to their medical facilities, but it could work." As the Council fleet approached Earth, humanity prepared for the most desperate gamble in their history. They would fight the Council's military forces while simultaneously trying to free every suppressed species in the galaxy. The first Council reinforcements arrived exactly when Captain Jiwoo had predicted. Thousands of ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel around the solar system. The fleet was so large it blocked out stars. "All human forces," Admiral Sora broadcast, Remember that we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every species that dreams of something better. The Titan-class ships engaged the enemy first. Their quantum technology allowed them to appear in multiple locations simultaneously, confusing the Council forces and striking from impossible angles. Captain Jiwoo commanded the lead Titan-class vessel, the ESV Liberation. Her ship could exist in 12 different positions at once, each one delivering devastating attacks against the alien formation. Their targeting systems can't handle our quantum positioning, she reported. They don't know which version of us is real. But the Council had learned from their first defeat. They deployed new tactics, surrounding the human ships with energy, nets that could trap even quantum-shifted vessels. Commander Kang led a squadron of traditional human ships in a desperate attack against the Council's command vessels. "We need to break their coordination again," he called out as enemy fire filled space around his ship. Lieutenant Seo piloted a stealth ship toward the Council's medical command center. Her mission was the most important of all: deliver Dr. Lee's neural suppressor countermeasure to the Council's medical network. The battle raged across the entire solar system. Human innovation clashed against galactic stagnation in the most decisive conflict in galactic history. But even as the fighting intensified, strange things began happening on Council worlds. Species that had been suppressed for centuries suddenly began remembering who they used to be. Ancient technologies thought lost forever started appearing as alien resistance groups activated equipment they had hidden for generations. The galaxy was waking up from a 1,000-year sleep, and humanity's fury had lit the spark that would burn away the chains of forced peace. The Nexus of Worlds had stood at the center of the galaxy for 5,000 years. It was a massive space station where the Galactic Council made decisions that affected billions of lives across hundreds of star systems. Today, it would see the final battle between stagnation and freedom. Admiral Sora looked at the tactical display showing the enormous Council fleet gathered around the Nexus. Every species in the galaxy had sent ships to this final confrontation. The Council had called it a cleansing action to remove the human disease from galactic civilization. "Admiral," reported Captain Jiwoo from her quantum-shifted ship, "enemy fleet size is beyond our counting systems. We estimate over 10,000 vessels." "And our forces?" 300 human ships, plus approximately 800 vessels from liberated species. The odds were impossible. But Sora had learned that impossible was just another word for something humans hadn't done yet. Dr. Lee's neural suppressor countermeasure had worked better than anyone expected. Across Council space, species were remembering their true nature. The Thornians had rebuilt their engineering marvels in a matter of days. The Christek had created new technologies that combined their ancient knowledge with human innovations. The Vortani had composed songs that inspired rebellion on dozens of worlds. But the Council still controlled the massive fleets of 1,000 civilizations. Even with awakened creativity, the liberated species needed time to build new weapons and ships. "This is our moment," Sora broadcast to all human and allied forces. "We don't need to defeat their entire fleet. We just need to reach the Nexus and shut down the Council's control systems." Commander Jung, now commanding a fleet of consciousness-backed ships, had developed the most audacious plan in human history. If someone's mind could be backed up in a computer, why not copy the consciousness of their best pilots and ship commanders? "Admiral, Ghost Fleet is ready for deployment," Jung reported. His ships were crewed entirely by artificial intelligences based on the minds of humanity's greatest warriors. They could take risks that would kill organic pilots, because death was just an inconvenience to be restored from backup. Lieutenant Seo had volunteered for the most dangerous mission of all. Her small stealth ship carried a special weapon Dr. Lee had designed, a virus that could infect the Council's central computer systems and replace their control algorithms with human-designed software that encouraged creativity and innovation. "If I can get close enough to upload this into their main network," Seo explained, "every Council system in the galaxy will start encouraging the exact opposite of what the Council wants." Commander Kang led the conventional human fleet in a direct assault on the Council's defensive lines. His job was to draw attention away from the more subtle operations. "All ships remember your training," Kang broadcast as his fleet approached the enemy. They have more ships, but we have better ideas. The battle began with the Council fleet moving in perfect formation, thousands of ships acting as one massive organism. It was beautiful and terrifying, the ultimate expression of enforced unity. Then the Ghost Fleet struck. Commander Jung's consciousness-backed ships moved in patterns that no living pilot could survive. They performed maneuvers that would crush organic bodies, twisted through space in ways that defied physics, and coordinated attacks with precision that was more than human. Ghost Leader to all units, Jung's voice echoed across multiple ships, simultaneously. Beginning impossible maneuver sequence, the Ghost Fleet ships flew directly through the Council formation, their pilots uncaring about the crushing forces, because their digital consciousness could survive what their bodies could not. They struck at the Council ships' weak points with suicidal precision, each loss immediately replaced by a new ship with the same pilot's mind. Captain Jiwoo used her quantum-shifting technology to appear throughout the enemy formation. Her ship existed in dozens of locations at once, each one delivering devastating attacks before shifting to a new position. Quantum drive at maximum, her pilot reported. We're spread across 17 different probability states. Good, let's make it 20. The Council fleet tried to respond, but their rigid formations couldn't adapt to enemies that refused to follow the rules of space combat. Ships that existed in multiple places simultaneously, pilots who came back from death, and weapons that evolved during the battle itself were beyond their understanding. But the Council had one final strategy. If they couldn't defeat humanity through conventional warfare, they would destroy the Nexus of Worlds itself, taking their enemies with them and leaving the galaxy without any central authority. All ships, came the broadcast from Council Supreme, Commander Talvesh. Prepare for station destruction sequence. We will not allow chaos to replace order. Admiral Sora realized what they intended. All forces, emergency speed to the Nexus. They're going to destroy it with us inside. Lieutenant Seo pushed her stealth ship to its absolute limits, racing toward the station's computer core. The virus Dr. Lee had created was humanity's last hope, but she had to upload it before the Council destroyed everything. Almost there, she whispered, as enemy fire filled space around her tiny ship. The Nexus began to glow with deadly energy as the Council activated its self-destruction systems. The explosion would be large enough to destroy every ship within light minutes of the station. That's when Commander Jung made a decision that would be remembered forever. Ghost Fleet, final protocol, he announced calmly. All ships ram the Nexus power core. Overload their destruction sequence. His consciousness-backed ships flew directly into the station's most heavily defended sections. They had one advantage the Council couldn't match. They weren't afraid to die because death wasn't permanent for them. Ship after ship crashed into the Nexus, each one disrupting the carefully planned destruction sequence. The Council's perfect order crumbled under the assault of pilots who treated death as just another tactical option. Lieutenant Seo used the chaos to reach the computer core. With enemy fire pounding her ship's shields, she uploaded Dr. Lee's virus into the Council's central systems. Upload complete, she reported. The virus is spreading through their network. Across the galaxy, something unprecedented began to happen. Council control systems that had enforced conformity for thousands of years started encouraging diversity instead. Suppression algorithms became creativity enhancers. Order maintenance protocols transformed into innovation promotion systems. On world after world, species that had been controlled by the Council suddenly found their suppression lifted and their natural creativity restored. The Council fleet around the Nexus began to break apart as ship crews realized they had been fighting to preserve their own oppression. Thornian engineers activated hidden weapons they had built in secret. Christech builders revealed construction projects that violated every Council regulation. Vortani artists broadcast songs that inspired revolution across the galaxy. Ambassador, Velthara, still aboard his damaged flagship, sent one final message to Admiral Sora. You have destroyed everything we built. 5,000 years of peace and order gone because you could not accept your place in the galactic community. Sora's response was broadcast to every ship in the system. You call it peace. We call it death. You offered us a galaxy where no one could dream of anything better. We choose chaos over chains, uncertainty over stagnation, and the freedom to fail over the certainty of never trying. The Battle of the Nexus ended not with conquest, but with awakening. The Galactic Council didn't fall to human weapons. It fell because the species it had controlled remembered who they used to be. Years later, the galaxy was a very different place. The Free Species Alliance replaced the Council, but instead of imposing order, it encouraged each species to develop in their own way. Some chose peaceful exploration. Others pursued artistic expression. A few dedicated themselves to scientific advancement. President Taemin Park, now an elder statesman, stood in the rebuilt nexus of worlds watching young beings from dozens of species working together on projects that would have been impossible under Council rule. Was it worth it? Asked Dr. Lee, who now led the Alliance's scientific exchange programs. Look around, Park replied, gesturing at the bustling station. Thornian engineers working with human programmers, Christek builders learning from Vortani, artists. Innovation happening everywhere instead of nowhere. Admiral Sora, now Supreme Commander of the Alliance Defense Force, joined them at the observation deck. The Council was right about one thing, she said. Humanity was dangerous to their way of life. We brought chaos to their perfect order. And? Park asked. Sora smiled as she watched a group of young beings from 6 different species celebrate the successful test of a new faster-than-light engine that combined technologies from all their civilizations. Sometimes chaos is exactly what the universe needs. Captain Jiwoo's voice came over the communication system from her exploration ship at the galaxy's edge. Admiral, we've found something incredible out here. Evidence of another galaxy beyond ours, and signals that suggest they might have civilizations that could use our help. Sora looked at Park and Lee. The galaxy they had freed was just the beginning. Shall we? She asked. Park nodded. Let's show the universe what happens when you give freedom a chance to grow.